Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends. I'm Soopa-Dave, and today's build and play guide is on the Fenyang. This thing is freaking awesome. This is right now probably the strongest Tier 6 destroyer outside of Orkin, probably, in my opinion. And to be fair, there's an argument to be had. This one might even be better. So for Commander, we're using Zen Chain because this thing literally, he is built for this ship, I swear. Tin Opener is his base trait, so you get better minimum ricochet angles of your destroyer's AP. And a Jersey Swirsky and William Sims. You could also run to double detection if you want, but this thing has really good detection as it is. For your upgrades, are your modifications, you're using aiming systems mod 1, prop, and concealment is always in 2 and 3. For your loadouts, you have two very underrated smokes. All right, they last 2 minutes and 10 seconds, 11 seconds on your dispersion time, and the consumable. So using them is about 30 seconds. So you have about 200 or 2 minutes and 40 seconds of possible smoke time. I wouldn't recommend using them that long because normally you can be more productive outside of them. However, you do have two engine boosts along with three defensive A8s, which normally you laugh at, but in this ship they're pretty good. Uh, for specs, so if you guys are unaware, this is Akazuki at tier 6, and it is a amazing Akazuki at tier 6, to be honest. Um, it's arguably as strong, but being at tier 6 makes it so much more powerful. Survivability, 21,000 hit points on here. And for your main battery, you have 8 100 millimeter guns. Now, I know they're 100s, but bear with me here for a second. These 8 guns may be the 8 best guns at the tier, or the best destroyer guns at the tier. These will catch everybody off guard because you have 8 guns reloading in 5 seconds. Let me say that again. You have 8 guns reloading in 5 seconds. This isn't a destroyer with 4 or 5 guns reloading in 5 seconds. That is normally pretty good. This is 8 guns. And you have a good turret traverse speed. The only weakness this ship has is eating torps, right? It has a terrible top speed and it has a terrible, it's long, right, for a destroyer. That is the only weakness, in my opinion, this ship has. So, as you guys can see, you have good reload, good turret traverse, good, solid accuracy. Your HE, remember, you have 8 100. So, uh, this might seem a little bit low, but for having 8 guns, this is a very good fire chance. And obviously, being that they're 100s, this is 1/5 pen, meaning it isn't the normal 1/6 pen, so you can still pen 20 millimeters, so you'll be able to pen destroyers with it if you want, but there's no reason to. I will show you guys why here in a second. HE is really probably what you're going to use to start fires on battleships. That's really the only reason you're going to use it for any length of time. Outside of that, you'll be on this friggin' wonderful AP. I mean, wonderful AP, right? Um, the alpha is better than the HE. Plus, not only that, not only is significantly better, but you have sticky shot with this. So you have the really good ricochet angles. So, and then with this commander, you're basically you're guaranteed a 67, which is absolutely crazy, and people will not understand uh, that you can't angle to this. All right, you kind of can, but you really can't. You think you can until you're up against it. And it does have solid armor pen for 100s. And your arming fuse threshold is 17, meaning when you shoot a destroyer, these things are going to arm. They're generally not going to overpin at all. All right. Torpedoes, a very underrated part of this ship. They go 12 knots. They're not super slow. They're at 67, and they reload in 50 seconds. Uh, Now, you only have four of them, but remember, guys, and these are deep water torps. But that would be very much like, having a set of eight monsters that these are reloading in 140. It's not that bad at all. And I mean, these things hit like a truck at 22,000. I think they might be the best at the tier. And people just don't know these are coming because they're deep water torps and you don't get to see them until they're right on you. Um, and there's nothing people can do about them. AA, again, very underrated. Most of this is obviously all of it's out past 3.5. And a large chunk of it is at 5. So even against tier 7 carriers, you're going to be able to take down some planes. Um, like I said, this ship, it is really solid. This is the weakness here, right? 33 knots, it's atrociously slow. And at the tier, I'm pretty sure both of these stats are close, if not close to last in the tier, the turning circle. Like, if you can go without eating torpedoes in this thing, you will mess up the entire team. So I have even lost in this ship. You guys have seen every match I played in it, but the one I'm going to show you guys. Concealment, really good. So if you do double concealment, you can get it down to 4.9, which almost is overkill in my opinion. Even for me, I'm a big detection guy, but I could also understand the Sims argument as well. And also another significant thing about this that I don't think many people will talk about, being that they're 100s, your main gun firing in smoke is 2.1. So you're going to be able to outgun in smoke other destroyers when they get close to you and think they're being sneaky. Uh, I'm not going to show you guys stats because you guys have seen all the matches. Haven't even yet to lose. I think I've only had one match under 3K base. This thing is pretty gnarly. That being said, you can see the armor here. There's not much of it. It's a destroyer. Don't take any unnecessary shots when you don't need to. As we start the match, it's disclaimer time. This is a beginner's video meant to help people new to the ship or new to the game. This is not meant for professional gamers that know everything there is to know about everything in the universe. There are multiple ways to play and build this ship, and I am an above average player, not the world's best. I make mistakes. You may see one in this match. You didn't come here for pronunciations. I'm as good as anybody at slaughtering beautiful languages all the time. With that out of the way, we are on Crash Zone. And to be quite honest with you guys, I should be put in jail for murder in this match. In fact, you could almost call it me being a serial killer in this match. I realize this is a tier 5. We shut off our AA, by the way, because it's 5 kilometers. It'll shoot before they detect us. So you want to wait the first time you do your AA until you get detected. So turn it off, then turn it back on when you know you're going to get detected, then leave it on. And I can assure you this thing will shoot down planes. As this actually, these Akazuki destroyers, this is actually Yukizaki, I can't ever pronounce the Japanese names, but this actually was a real ship, and it was really actually transferred to the Chinese Navy. And these were built only to be AA destroyers. Really, they threw torpedoes on them just to make them kind of multi-purpose, but this is 100% what these were for, AA, and they will shoot down. But don't underestimate these 4-inch guns, alright? Because this Z39 is going to. And Z39, respectable ship in itself, but one shot was quarter of his health. You can see he's angled. He's not really angled. None of them shells bounced. I could have stayed on AP there. I shoot HE. Them do damage too. No matter what you do against this ship, it's going to suck. So we're going to kite away here to try to get him to come out of his smoke. To try to do that. He's actually going to outrun his smoke here in a second. But I think he's okay. So I actually think he's going to get set in there for a second. And you can see we absolutely are pinning this guy with everything. No shell bounces at all. I'm going to start shooting his battleship and throwing out a set of torpedoes out at him. And then he gets himself spotted again, and we're absolutely going to maul him here. And this isn't a tier 4 or 5, piece of crap destroyer. This is a Z-39, and we absolutely maul him, and he didn't even play this that badly. He tried angling, he tried getting into the smoke, he tried doing whatever he could. And again, we just maul this guy. None of them shells bounce. And then with these AP angles, I don't even know that you load HE in this thing unless you want to start battleships on fire. Because you're going to see here, we're going to fire these little 4-inch guns and do huge chunks of damage to battleships. Right? However, Russian and German and Italians, you're not going to have that luck. So we're going to back up and we're going to help our battleship that did, in fact, push up with us. Our other battleship died, and you guys are going to see here. We're even going to be able to chunk Matsu here with solid hits. And you're going to see here another solid chunk, like 7 of our hits. And this guy has nothing he can do. It is over so quickly for him, even with us shooting at him. For a battle or a destroyer to shoot AP like that on a battleship is pretty astounding. Now, again, this is such a good showcase of this ship that this is one of my favorite guides I've ever done, right? So what we're going to do is we know there's a battleship. He's trying to take the cap. So, and we know Orkin's out there. So I've been trying to save health for Orkin. I don't need to be getting into a gunfight with a battleship out in the open. So you guys can see we still have a minute 50 left of our smoke. Alright, so what we're going to do here is right before last second before I think we can't stop him from capping, we're going to go ahead and shoot our guns off so we can make sure we stop his cap, and we're going to back up into the smoke, hoping he shoots and then gets us, shoots at us and gets us spotted. Well, he does actually end up shooting, right? However, because it's Russian, we don't have the pen really to get through that crazy armor that Russians have, and we're gonna start shooting at him. Why are we gonna do that? We're gonna do that so that he tries to turn back at us and shoot. We're gonna steer him back into our torps, as you can see, and he's gonna eat all them torps, and we basically dev strike him. And our teammate is actually going to end up getting this kill, and kudos to this Nagato, because I knew this Nagato kind of was out here, but I knew that he had a low tier commander, and this Nagato is going to absolutely waffle stomp me with a shot here. This is a level 2 commander, and I was not expecting this, and he gets a good hit on me. So kudos to this Nagato for being 5 minutes in with a generic commander in level 2, and he played better than most of the people I play with or against in this game. So kudos to you, man. You caught me off guard here with that shot. But remember, I shoot back. Alright? Obviously, this guy has no idea who I am. He just started the game. Not that anybody does anyway. But we're going to go ahead. I'm hoping the carrier will focus on Nagato. Their carrier's starting to focus on me. I'm gonna start shooting down his planes, right? These torps. This guy played this very well for having a level 2 commander and on a level 2 generic commander, as you guys can see here. This guy's gonna do a good job. He's gonna keep himself bow in. I'm pretty impressed. So if you're this player, this Nagato, don't get discouraged. You are just up against a butthead in me, okay? We also now know the destroyer's over here. I know I'm trying to save my health for Orkin, and I know he's over here, so we're going to get turned back around to take care of the Nagato. Nagato's proven that he's going to shoot me if I'm spotted. Alright, so there's no reason to get into this gunfight with Orkin right now, because I'll probably lose it. But I want this cap. And you're going to see I'm keeping an eye on what's going over there. And this Orkin is actually in a second. As you can see, we have a very close match going on here. This Orkin is actually going to get himself spotted, and he's going to be shooting our battleship. Our battleship really doesn't have a huge opportunity to shoot him, but it's a battleship anyway. I doubt he would have. As we get another hit on Nagato and a permafire, because these torpedoes reload so stinking quick that there's nothing you can do. As we get our high caliber, and this poor Nagato is just flooding out because we're buttheads. And I'm very sorry to this red enemy team. They probably were the better team, but I am kind of messing them up here, right? We have a high caliber and a tier 6 destroyer. Now, granted, some of the ships we're going against are tier 5s, but for the most part, they're, tier 6s, right? So, even at tier 7, this is a strong ship, guys. So, make no mistakes. As we finish them off with our guns, I'm going to go ahead and get towards the cap here because, this Orkin showed he's a pretty decent player so far. And we're going to go ahead and just get into this cap. Also, Orkin gets himself spotted because he wants to, he's by himself basically in a carrier. He's got no choice now. We're going to start firing AP at him. Now, at this distance, the AP isn't as reliable because you're aiming at such a different distance here. That's why I would recommend almost HE at range like this. But you can see we start to do some damage. And now we've made this so that when we fight each other, it's a fair fight, right? And I'm not too particularly worried. Here is, we see that he goes out, kind of out, and we're going to grab this cap. But this is, guys, if you don't think this is a good destroyer, you're absolutely insane. This is I am very open to opinions, but people that don't like this ship, they don't like, winning. They don't like murdering everything that's on the map. Now, sadly, we did get that one, the Ishmael stolen from us after we did all the damage. Not something I normally worry about, but you can see right now that would put us in a good position to maybe get a Kraken, which I don't really care about. Orkin gets himself spotted. We're going to go ahead as we get the full cap after a heck of a war on this side. We're going to worry about getting rid of this Orkin. Also, that battleship did get a nice little shot in, but we're going to go ahead and then finish Orkin for our 4th kill. He does shoot at us, but it's too late. We're going to go ahead, push up, and try to get to the carrier as the match is starting to close down here. But guys, like Akazuki and Northern Dragon and all these ships, if you understand how to play them, this is the strongest one of them all in my opinion. But if you understand how to play them, these ships can be very good. Now you can see here, we're going to start with AP, but we're going to have shells bounce here on Ranger. So we're going to switch over to HE just to try to get what we can after we notice our shells bouncing on the right hand side. Something I would pay attention to, guys. Would definitely do that. And then we're going to smoke up. Just in the odd case that, our battleship don't have a lot of health. This carrier is a Ranger. If he decides to get smart with us, he could maybe come back as we finish off with that kill and a Kraken. Now, we kind of did steal the carrier kill, but for the most part, we killed everything else. Full health. As we get $1.3 million at tier 6, guys. 1.3. I know I had a booster on, but who cares? With a high caliber, a Kraken, a 3,700 base XP game, guys, at tier 6. That is one of the better tier 6 destroyer games you are ever going to see. And very complete. It showed off the torpedoes, it showed off the guns, it showed off the AA. Just one of my favorite guides I've ever built on one of my favorite ships. You guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you folks next time. Have a good one.